Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's True Crime Trivia. Hello, Morgan, Lemon Pie, Tina, the Morgan. I hope we all had a great weekend. Good evening, Kitty Q. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. How's the weather here? About 46 degrees right in there. I don't know if it's raining or not outside. I haven't been outside for a while. Looking forward to Kolchak the Night Stalker trivia. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. This is part 3 of Richard Ramirez. These are the last of the questions that I had that I didn't use in the last 2 parts. So they're all on Richard Ramirez, but they're a little bit of everything. I did have a great weekend. Thanks. Well, good. Good. Let's see. Today is March 3rd. Back one page. And this is coming from Serial Killer Calendar. March 3rd. First, second, third is Juan Covington, was born March 3rd, 1962, an American serial killer from Philadelphia. Great book. I better get at least a B. I got notes. All right. I'm gonna give it another minute here, and then we'll get this going. You have to bear with me. For some reason I didn't even check this until earlier, but they moved the way that they changed the way the things are displayed a little bit, so it's going to take just a second for me to do that. Good evening, Reichart. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a good weekend. Hi, Ricardo. Reichart. I spelled your name wrong before. Lemon pie, lemon pew. Makes me always want to have a slice of lemon pie, lemon meringue. I'm not big on desserts, but I like lemon meringue pie. Kitty Q, you call me lemon pew. Do I smell bad today? No, it was just a mistyping lemon pie. I'm sure she didn't mean anything from it at all. All right, let's get this going. Now, bear with me here. They changed the way where everything is on my end on the screen, so I have to do a couple things here to actually see if I can find it. And there it is. So it's gonna, it says thank you, but it's not. And, hey, look, here's me, my little window. All right. This is another part of the serial killer series of trivia. Richard Ramirez, otherwise known as the Night Stalker. Get the chat up here. Back on the window. Oh, no, I'm going the wrong way. I want to go down. And I want to go that way. Rayanna, good evening, Rayanna. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Mini Willy Wonka. I am the little man. Okay, here we go. First question is now on your screen. The Night Stalker Richard Ramirez shared the same birthday as another killer. It gets even stranger though. Both mothers were in a relationship with a man named Frank. Both had midwives named Marie. Can you guess who this other killer is? Is it A, Joseph D'Angelo, B, Elaine Wuornos, C, Ted Bundy, or D, Samuel Little? The Night Stalker Richard Ramirez shared the same birthday as another killer. Ricardo Ramirez. Same birthday. Both mothers were involved in a relationship with a man named Frank, and they both had midwives with the same first name. Good old Richard Ramirez. Lemon Pie and the Morgan are going with D. Anna's going with C. Good old Teddy. Kitty code D? Question mark? Question mark? I don't know. It could be Samuel Little. Who knows? God, give it a minute. We'll find out. I know his birthday, but you got me with this question. D says question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark from Tina. Sal, we're on question number 1. Sal, you're just on time. Late, but oh well. Glad you could be here with us, Sal. Sal is going with C, Ted Bundy. The Night Stalker Richard Ramirez shared the same birthday as another killer. It gets even stranger though. Both mothers were in a relationship with a man named Frank. Mr. Frosty's in the house. Good evening, Mr. Frosty. They both had midwives named Marie. Can you guess this other killer's name? Ladies and gentlemen, the correct answer is B as in boy. Richard Ramirez and Elaine Wuornos both shared the same birthday. That both of their mothers were in a relationship with a man named Frank, and both of them had midwives named Marie. Richard Ramirez and Elaine Wuornos. YouTubers still make music videos with Richard Ramirez in the background. That's creepy. I wonder why they do that. All right, question number 2. Born Ricardo Leva Munoz Ramirez. His mother had a different name selected for him, but was overruled by his father. Which first name did she select? We're looking for the name that she had chosen for him before being overruled by his father. Was it A, Robert, B, Diego, C, Augustine, or D, Sam? That would have been an icebreaker if they went on a date, right? And both of them, a lot of other similarities between the all of them. Then I'm talking about the family dynamic of abuse for both of them. There's a lot of similarities. Born Ricardo Leva Munoz Ramirez, his mother had a different name selected for him, but was overruled by his father. Which first name did she have selected? The Morgan's going with B. Rihanna is going with B. Maybe. Maybe it is. We don't know. Lemon pie. E. Jelly donut. Rykar. E. Barry Morphew Ramirez. I don't think anybody wants to name their kid Barry Morphew. But it's funny though. Mr. Frosty is going to go with C. Augustine. That's a strange name in itself. It's kind of like Augusta, but Augustine. That's a weird one from the list. I don't know. I don't think I've ever met an Augustine. And again, I don't think I've ever met an Augusta. Born Ricardo Leva Munoz Ramirez. His mother had chosen the following name, question 2, for him before being overruled by his father. She wanted to name him B as in boy, Diego. She wanted to name him Diego. Austin the window. Rykart went with B. Diego. Question number 3. During Richard's crime spree, he used several different weapons to torture and kill his victims, including a gun, a knife, a hammer, a rope, and which other weapon from this list? Is it A, a screwdriver, B, a brick, C, a tire iron, and D, a baseball bat? During Richard's crime spree, he used several different weapons to torture and kill his victims, including a gun, a knife, a hammer, a rope, and which other weapon? This chat always makes me hungry. Donuts. Kitty Q is going with C, a tire iron. Sal's going with A, a screwdriver. Tina's going with A as well. Question number 3. E, a stinky sneaker. Or just a sneaker. At least it was not a flip flop. Lemon Pie's going with a screwdriver. The Morgan is going with a baseball bat. Lemon Pie, a feather duster. What other weapon besides a gun, a knife, a hammer, rope did Richard Ramirez use to kill and torture his victims? Carly is going with C, and welcome to tonight's trivia, Carly. Rykart is going with D, a baseball bat. Question number 3 out of 20 on Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, the American serial killer. Carol, good evening, Carol. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Carol's going with D. Question number 3 of 20. Oops, don't want to do that. Question number 3. All right, the answer to question number 3 is C as in cat, a tire iron. He used a gun, a knife, a hammer, a rope, and a tire iron to torture and kill his victims. Lovely individual, wasn't he? Tire iron, C as in cat, is the correct answer to question 3. All right, question 4. Sentenced to death for 13 murders and 30 related felonies, how did Richard finally meet his maker in the end? Was it A, a fight with another inmate, B, beaten to death by a guard, C, lymphoma, or D, a heart attack? Sentenced to death for 13 murders and 30 related felonies, how did Richard finally meet his maker in the end? The Morgan is going with C. Tina is going with C as well. Kitty Q is going with C. C seems to be a popular one. Oh boy, those must have came in all at the same time. Like 3 of them went flying by. Mr. Frosty's going with C. Carl is C. Lemon Pie is going with D. The Morgan, death by jelly donuts. Good evening, Mel. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a pleasant weekend. We are currently on question 4 of 20. Sentenced to death for 13 murders and 30 related felonies, how did Richard finally meet his maker in the end? Excuse me. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. No, the Morgan, only cops die from that. He fell backwards onto a knife held by an inmate 10 times. It's funny, lemon pie. Question number 4 of 20. How did Richard Ramirez meet his maker in the end? The correct answer is C as in cat, from lymphoma. He got lymphoma before they could execute his dumbass. All right, question number. I gotta remember to turn the timer off on my screen, otherwise we're all gonna be sitting here staring at a black screen. Question number 5. He always wanted to see the fear in the eyes of his victims. He always stole items from his victims before he left. Some items he sold, some items he kept. What did he steal from Maxine Zara? Was it A, her eyeballs, B, her driver's license, C, her underwear she was wearing, or D, her cash and credit cards? He always wanted to see the fear in the eyes of his victims. He always stole items from his victims before he left. Some items he sold, some items he kept. What did he steal from Maxine Zara? We got A, and then Lemon Pie's going with B. Tina's going with A as well. A sicko, says Reichart. Christina, good evening, Christina. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend. We are currently on question 5 of 20, so there's plenty of trivia left, Christina. I'm glad you could be here with us. Christina is going with A as an apple. Murder was just one component of his entire crime spree. There's only one. It was the ending to it all for each victim, obviously, but Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, an American serial killer. Question 5 of 20. Mel's going with A as well. Question 5. All right, the answer to question 5 of 20 is, matter of fact, A as in apple, her eyeballs. If you don't want to hear the next part, please mute your computer or device right now. He plucked out both of her eyes with a fork and then cut them up, the rest of it out, and then put them in his pocket and left with them. Maxine Zara. And I do not know, and I researched, as much as I could. I could not find out if they ever found her eyes, but he took her eyes out. A as in apple. Yes. Question 6. Richard Ramirez, 1960 to 2023, sentenced to die for his crimes while on death row. How did Richard spend his time? Looking for his hobby here? We are looking for his hobby. Did he A, write long love letters to his wife? B, wrote letters to appeal his conviction? C, wrote poems? Or D, wrote letters to random people? I thought he put them in a jewelry box. I wasn't able to confirm that. That, and there was also a trinket, like where he kept trophies, but I wasn't able to confirm it. Kitty Coo, on what he actually did with the eyes. There's a little bit of more, I guess, conflicting information out there about what had happened to it. Purple, good evening. E, diabetes. Richard Ramirez, 1960 to 2013. Sentenced to die for his crimes while on death row. How did Richard spend his time? Poetic justice. Kind of hoping that that Gayla might be able to pop into tonight's trivia, because I have a question that maybe she has the answer to, or maybe somebody. If she doesn't pop in, I'll ask everybody else. Does anybody know about the death chamber at San Quentin, state prison in California? He ate with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Tina's going with D. It's good, Danny. A little. What was it? What was it? Red. What it? That's. Well, that was no, red was the part 2. Part 1 was Silence of the Lambs. And he had fava beans and Chianti. As he ate their, was a liver or whatever, their kidneys. I can't remember what organ it was. Gayla's probably snowed in 10 feet of snow. Wow. But I'm trying to document the question, with somebody who may know the answer to, about the death chamber at San Quentin State Prison in California. Is the lethal injection done inside of the old gas chamber there? I found a story about them. They caught what the state of California was going to be charged to remove the gas chamber, and they just said screw it, and they took the chair out and they put the gurney in the gas chamber instead, because they didn't want to spend the money to remove the gas chamber. But I can't figure out if they really didn't do it or if it's still there. Why is your voice so high like a woman? Oh, hey, because I'm a woman. Does that make you feel better? Mel has no idea either. All right, the answer to question number 6 is B as in boy. He wrote letters of appeal for his conviction. Mel has no idea. It's a good question. Sometimes you find these stories online, like about the gas chamber there, and trying to verify it, and it's hard. I mean, it's like, well, great, but there was no follow up, and that was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. The story came out that the state of California didn't want to pay the money to have the gas chamber removed, so they just said, screw it, let's put the lethal injection inside of it. Put some bass in my voice, homie. I'm not going to mess with any of it right now. I'm just going to leave it as it is. But thank you for your critique of my voice, anyways. Question number 7. Richard collected letters written to other death row inmates, kind of like Pokemon cards. He had to collect them all. So, with that said, what were the angel letters? What were the angel letters? A, fan fiction letters. B, dreams other inmates wrote. C, confessions from inmates. Or D, letters he got with photographs. We are looking for what is the angel letters. What were they? Richard collected letters written by other death row inmates, kind of like Pokemon cards. You have to collect them all. So, with that said, what were the angel letters? Meep. Good evening, Meep. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Right card's gonna be question mark? Question 7 of 20. Tammy's going with D. Question mark, question mark. Mr. Frosty is going with D. Tina, C? Question mark? I don't know. Emoji. The angel. What were the angel letters? Question number 7 of 20. All right, the answer to question number 7 is D as in dog. Letters he got with photographs. Those were what he called the angel letters, where someone from the outside wrote him and sent along a photograph of themselves along with the letter. And he collected them all up like he had to collect them all, like Pokemon cards, but letters from people from the outside with a photograph. Called them his angel letters in his collection. All right, question number 8. Richard never just tortured and killed his victims. He always stuck around afterwards to eat their food, showered, and did what else? Was it A, played with their pets, B, fed their children if they had them, C, watched TV, or D, tried on their clothes? Richard never just tortured and killed his victims. He always stuck around afterwards to eat their food. He showered, and he did what else? And the Morgan guessed one right. Richard Ramirez. Tina is going with C, so is Purple. Sal's going with C as well. Meep is going with D. Who was crazy enough to send him their photos? Mel, I don't know how large the collection was, but you would be truly surprised by how many letters these death row inmates get. And the more popular they are in popular culture, especially in the true crime, the more letters they got. There were times while during Ted Bundy's actual trial where he received hundreds of letters a month from people who were fans. Then likewise, Kitty Q can contest this. As he was actually being strapped into the electric chair, people were outside the penitentiary wearing T-shirts that said "Fry Bundy Fry" or something to that effect. I do believe Kitty Q said she still has hers. Zuna Island. It went by. I'll come back here. I was going to say hello. Zuna Island Girl. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. And Zuna Island Girl is going with D for tried on their clothes. C, he liked Fantasy Island and Heart to Heart. I forgot all about Heart to Heart. I used to watch that. True crime has a lot of true nuts. It does, just like everything else. Hello, 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 hello. I don't mean you, Kitty Q. I think we're all a little nutty in our own way, and that's what makes us such a great community. All right, what did Richard Ramirez do after he ate their food, showered sometimes? What else did he do? The correct answer is D as in dog. He tried on the husband or boyfriend, whoever, because he liked to pick couples, and he would make the man watch as he actually tortured the other. Sometimes he went to extremes in his torture, and he killed them. But sometimes he would try on their clothes. If she was single and she did not have a man that lived in the home with her, he tried on her clothes. Yeah, he was a freak. Do the plane. The plane, the plane. The tattoo from Fantasy Island. Carlo Montevon. But D as in dog, he tried on their clothes for question 8 of 20. Question 9. Once he decided on the next victim, he always made sure they seen him, either the day before, week before, or in some cases an hour before. Again, why did he do this? Was it A, have them fear this stranger? B, wonder what's to come? C, he found it funny to do? Or D, it was just part of the game? Question 9 of 20. Once he decided on his next victim, he always made sure they seen him. Crossdresser? I don't think he ever actually went anywhere, at least not to my knowledge, Reichardt, if he ever went anywhere dressed as a woman. I mean, he might have been that way, behind, closed doors. I mean, I guess we're kind of lucky he wasn't making a female, suit out of skin like Buffalo Bill. Put the lotion in the basket. But possibly C, I'm going with D, says Kitty Q. Richard Ramirez. Once he decided on a victim, he always made sure they seen him. Or Anna is going with D. Question 9 of 20. Christina is going with D as well. Hi, Sherry. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Sherry. Tucked his weenie in, like Buffalo Bill. Hello, hello, hello. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Sherry. Thank you for joining us tonight. Question number 9 of 20. Once he decided on a victim, he always made sure they seen him, either the day before, week before, or in some cases an hour before. Why did he do it? Charge! Why did Richard Ramirez make sure that every victim saw him? Question number 9. Here's one. What celebrity did he meet in jail? Richard Ramirez? Don't know. 10. I think lemon. Well, all right. The answer to question number 9 is A as in apple. He always popped up if they were near his home. He would show up near their home, or in some cases in public, and he made sure that they were creeped out by his presence of this stranger watching him. And he said, and this was an actual quote from him, it was part of the game of the hunt. So it was all part of the game to him. He was playing a game that nobody else wanted to play but him. But he would show up and make sure that they saw him, either standing out on the street corner, or in a parking lot somewhere, or grocery store someplace. He made sure that they saw him, and they didn't see him again until he was attacking them and torturing and killing them. And Madonna saw him. So D was right. Part of the game. Yeah, I'll give you credit for A or D if you answered A or D. He wanted them to fear this stranger, but it was all part of the game. All right, question 10. Very little of what Richard ever confessed to can be believed. He lied about every murder and every hard R, every theft. What was the one thing, though, we can believe that started his descent into darkness? Was it A, drug abuse, B, abuse from his mother, C, his cousin killing his wife, or D, his pet mountain lion running away? Very little of what Richard ever confessed to can be believed. He lied about every murder, every hard R, and every theft. What's the one thing we can believe that started his descent into darkness? Question number 10 of 20. Luna Island girl is going with A. She's an island girl. His Hugo got repossessed. That's a good one, Tammy. F, the Kardashians. That would probably throw a lot of people over the edge there, huh? Carol Miller is going with B. Keep on grabbing the wrong mouse. No, you have to get a different colored one. They're both black and grayish. Maybe I'll take one out and spray paint it like red or something. Well, I want to say D, but I'll go with C. To Sherry. His pet mountain lion ran away. It's always the mother's fault, says Ray Anna. Not in the case of John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy's mother protected him from his father and his uncles. John Wayne Gacy's father beat him and ridiculed him for everything that he ever did when he was growing up. That's the father in that case. ABCE mountain lion on the meth driving a Yugo, says Purple. Question number 10 of 20. The correct answer is C as in cat. right at just in time there, Mr. Frosty. His cousin killing his wife. Now, his cousin wasn't exactly what you'd call a great individual. Younger, when Richard was growing up, he showed him Polaroid pictures of people that he had that his cousin had actually raped. He showed him pictures, Polaroid pictures of them. He showed him pictures of dead Viet Cong that he had beheaded. These are things that he actually showed to Richard as a young man growing up. But Richard idolized his cousin. And then his cousin ended up killing his wife and getting convicted of murder and sent away to the penitentiary. And that was pretty much the end for everything for Richard, because up until that point, he'd only committed small petty crimes, nothing major, and he still could have straightened his life out. But shortly after his cousin was convicted, everything was like, nope, then might as well just do whatever the hell I want. All right. That is the first 10 questions, ladies and gentlemen. We are now taking our normal 6-minute break at the midway point. We will be back in 6 minutes for the second half of tonight's trivia. And enjoy a 6-minute break. Break time, says Mel. Correct. Break time, 6 minutes. Smoke them if you got them, says Morgan. Yep. We have reached the 6-minute mark. The halfway mark, but we take a break for 6 minutes. Didn't his cousin get off on insanity, but the time and mental place? Yes, Kitty Coo. I heard him say he picked his victims because their door was unlocked. It wasn't necessarily a door, Meep. It was a door, a window. Found it as an invitation. And hurry up and wait. Richard Ramirez. By the way, Will, you have a very, very masculine voice. Oh, thank you, Sal. If the question was posed in a different, way, I would have probably taken it, in a different way. But oh well, you can't please everybody all the time. All I can do is hope to do the best job that I can do. Freaking Barry Mountain Lion Morphew. Does anybody think they're ever going to convict him of, for what happened to Suzanne? Barry Morphew, that is. And a lot of the evidence that they brought forth the first time is, it would be of the poison fruit, meaning they can't reuse that same evidence because it was already tossed with the first case. Some people like to troll and not like it when the chat doesn't feed it, so they just leave. Well, some people do. Some people, I get a lot of critiques. That I'm sure that they're probably coming from a good place, but I don't think people necessarily have the quorum to phrase their question or critique in a way that is even a little tiny bit constructive. People don't like the background of my video because it looks it's too cluttered. They don't like the way that I dress, or the way that I speak, or the way that I type things out sometimes, like these questions where I use There's spelling errors or grammatical errors, in this. And I get that. I understand it. I was able to ride a PT bike 1 mile slowly, but did, and walked a mile with my neighbor and her puppy today. So my ankle is healing. Well, that's good, Sherry. I'm proud of you for first for just getting out there and doing it. You know, slowly but surely. It takes time. The ankles are you never realize just how important it is until you injure one. And I have been there. I've never broken one, but I've definitely I've injured it quite a few times. All right. We have exactly 1 minute left. How is your Pabst Blue Ribbon friend doing? My friend Tim. Tim is doing well, working, raising his grandchildren. Ankles are sensitive once hurt too. Yeah. Well, I mean, my entire body is falling apart at this point. As my wife says, my warranty has expired. 30 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen. 30 seconds left. My orthopedic surgeon said after 4 months now, it looks like it's 100% healed. Unfortunately, probably doesn't feel that way, though, does it, Sherry? My orthopedic surgeon retired on me. So now I got a new one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back from our break. Question number 11 is now on the screen. As of 2020, there are still a series of unsolved murders in San Francisco Bay Area that could have been done by Richard. How many murders are there that are unsolved in San Francisco that could be of Richard Ramirez? Because the MO is the same as Richard Ramirez. The individual was killed in their home. The entry of the individual was the same. They were tortured the same. Everything. It's almost exactly what Richard Ramirez would have done. But how many of these unsolved crimes as of 2020 are there still in San Francisco? Is it A, 5, B, 21, C, 10, or D, 7? Sal says 7. Question 11 of 20. The Morgan's going with 5. Question mark. Kitiku is going with A as well. Series of unsolved murders. Has Richard ever confessed to any of his murders? Some. Partial. He never gave complete confessions to a single crime. He gave partial confessions. And law enforcement was pretty nice about it. They're not wanting to push it, because if you got him angry, or if you tried to veer him back to the subject that you really wanted to know about, he just stopped talking. But he gave partial confessions. As of 2020, there is still a series of unsolved murders in the San Francisco Bay Area that could have been done by Richard. How many? Right card's going with C. Eyes. Gianna Marie. Good evening, Gianna Marie. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Purple is going with D. Mr. Frosty going with D. Tammy B? Question mark? How many unsolved murders in the San Francisco Bay Area could be connected to or been done by Richard Ramirez? Question 11 of 20. All right, the answer to question 11 is A as in apple, 5. There are 5 unsolved murders from the San Francisco Bay Area that may be may have been done by Richard Ramirez, but at this point, the cases are still open. They're not, 100% attributed to Richard Ramirez, but they were committed in the same exact way that he committed all of his. The individuals were bound. All 5 women were bound. All 5 women were murdered in the same way, and all 5 of them were stabbed to death in their home or apartment, whichever you want to call it, condo, whatever, the actual living location is. But 5, A as in apple. Question number 12. Which one from below was Richard Ramirez officially diagnosed with having once he was arrested and sentenced to death row, sentenced and on death row? Was it A, paranoid delusion, B, bipolar, C, manic depression, or D, schizophrenic tendencies? I had 3 in my notes. Can you tell which ones? No. Which one from below was Richard Ramirez officially diagnosed with having once he was arrested and sentenced and sent to death row? You make me laugh. Me? Oh. Christina's going with C. Kitty Q's going with D. Morgan's going with C. Mr. Frosty B. And Sherry D. In case you're wondering, in order to be diagnosed with any of the above, you must sit down and actually talk to someone who is, a practitioner in that field of psychotherapy or therapy. I don't know which one it would be. I'm sorry, I didn't write it down in my notes here. But you must be Super Bowl fever. Richard Ramirez was officially diagnosed with one of these 4. Meep is going with A, paranoid delusions. Richard Ramirez, question 12 of 20. Which one from below was Richard Ramirez officially diagnosed with? Rick Reichart is going with A, Lita Stapleton. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Is going with D. The answer to question 12 is D as in dog. Schizophrenic tendencies. He was not diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was diagnosed with having schizophrenic tendencies. On top of that, the note says that he was diagnosed with schizophrenic tendencies and grandeur. Schizophrenic tendencies. Schizopersonality disorder. I guess that would be Mel, schizophrenic personality disorder. The schizophrenic tendencies. All right. Question number 13. Richard Ramirez wasn't the first serial killer to be called the Night Stalker. He wasn't even the last one to be called it. Who then was the original Night Stalker? Was it A, Ed Kemper, B, Joseph D'Angelo, or C, Snooky from the Jersey Shore, or D, James Ray? Richard Ramirez wasn't the first serial killer to be called the Night Stalker, and he wasn't even the last one to be called it. Who was the original Night Stalker? Question number 13 of 20. He did have bad skin. I think it's high, if not 21. I think you're on the wrong question, Zuna Island Girl. Letta is going with A. Purple going with B. Richard Ramirez wasn't even the original Night Stalker. So who was the original Night Stalker? Was diagnosed with summer teeth. Some were not. Diagnosed with summer teeth. He definitely had bad teeth at one point, didn't he? Good old Richard Ramirez and his rotten teeth. Mel Stiller is going with D'Angelo. B. Mr. Frosty is going with B as well. Question number 13 of 20. Nobody wants to guess C? Snooky from the Jersey Shore? Snooky could be a serial killer, and we wouldn't know. Maybe she's just really good at hiding it. Richard Ramirez wasn't the first serial killer to be called a Night Stalker. He wasn't even the last. The original Night Stalker is none other than B as in boy. Joseph D'Angelo was the original Night Stalker. And in case you're wondering who has been named the Night Stalker since then, the name Night Stalker is thrown out in the media anytime they have a person that, or a case that they think might be a serial rapist or a serial killer or a serial crime. They keep on throwing it, especially if it takes place at night. The Night Stalker label gets thrown out at so many times on different types of crimes now, as opposed to before. He always throws Joseph D'Angelo in there, and I don't know about him. No. Had to flip back up in my notes. LOL. All right, question number 14. Why did Richard stay at the Cecil Hotel? It was called the Stay on Main back then, for as long as he did. Why, while he was actively killing, why did Richard Ramirez stay at the Cecil Inn? Was it A, he liked the place, B, clean towels and bed sheets, C, law enforcement refused to go in the hotel, or D, other killers lived there as well? Why did Richard Ramirez like to stay at the Cecil Hotel, the Stay on Main? And you can take the tour bus that goes right by there, and they stop in front of it, and they actually tell you about Richard Ramirez actually, staying there. D'Angelo was also called the East Area Rapist. Yes, he was. That is absolutely true, Morgan. Tammy's going with D. The Morgan's going with C. Why did Richard Ramirez stay at the Cecil Hotel for as long as he did? Mr. Frosty is going with A. Carol Miller is going with D. Why did he stay at the Cecil Hotel? Anna Marie is going with C, and Meat is going with D. Sherry's going with A. Anna Marie is going with C. E, complimentary mint left on your pillow. That's funny, lemon pie. I don't think they have that kind of turn down bed service there, though. Christina is going with B. Why did he stay at the Cecil Hotel on the Stay on Main for as long as he did? Question number 14 of 20. The correct answer is C as in cat. Law enforcement The police department refused to go into the Cecil Hotel because it was filled full of nothing but drug addicts, criminals, and everything else. The less desirable part of society stayed there because the Cecil Hotel was dirt cheap and attracted anyone and everyone, different kinds of people from society. And they didn't feel safe when they went in there to do, drug buys, nothing. They hated going in there, so they refused to go in there. So people like Richard Ramirez and other, criminals, they felt safe inside of the Cecil Hotel because they knew law enforcement would never come in there. C as in cat. All right, question number 15. The photo you see is one of only 3 known photos of the wedding day of Richard Ramirez and his lovely bride. Who did Richard marry? Was it A, Samantha Cook, B, Darlene Mattox, C, Janelle Connor, or D, Doreen Loy? Oh, I'm trying to scroll back up. I'm not trying to highlight any. Is that? Oh yeah, the Cecil Hotel is still in business, right, Cart? The Cecil Hotel is a landmark. It's going to be there forever, even if they don't have it open as a hotel someday. It'll be a museum or something. Lori Vallow. Mary Lori Vallow. That's a good one, right, Cart? Yeah, it's heavily remodeled. It's not the same dive hotel that it used to be. Carl's going with D. Lemon pie. Elaine War notes. But this is one of only 3 examples, and one of these of the 3 here from the actual marriage of Richard Ramirez. You can find it at the Murder Crime Museum in Los Angeles. They have one of the 3 actual real photos that that it's showing here, Polaroids of the actual wedding day for him. Ruby Frankie, says Jude. And good evening, Jude, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you've been doing well. Hard one, says me. Go with C. Question number 15 of 20. Purple's going with C. Jody Hildebrand. Oh, Mel. I can actually see that, as a being a power couple. Richard Ramirez and Jody Hildebrand. The in couple in Los Angeles. Do they have truck parking at the Cecil? I highly doubt it, right, Cart? I don't think they'd have enough room to put your truck anywhere nearby. Didn't know he was ever married. Oh, yes, he was. All the way up until after he, technically, even if your spouse dies, you're still married, right? It all depends on how you see your actual vows, all right? To death do us part. All right, question number 15. The correct answer is D as in dog. Question number 15. D as in dog. Doreen Loy. Loy, or however you pronounce it. L-O-I-Y. Loy. Whatever. But Doreen. That is him and Doreen in the picture there. All right. Question number 16. El Maton, which is murder, wasn't always a violent thug. Growing up, he was like any other kid. What age was Richard when he committed his very first felony? Was it A, age 12, auto theft, B, age 12, arson, C, 13, murder, or D, 11, auto theft? Almaton wasn't always a violent thug. Growing up, he was like any other kid. At what age was Richard when he committed his very first felony? Should nipple high to manic. Purple D, 11. On an island girl is going with D. Gianna Marie is going with B. Mr. Frosty going with A. Morgan D. Tina is going with D. Sal A. Sherry D. Meep A. Question number 16 of 20. Christina A. Thinking 12 years of age. Meep is going with A as well, so they're thinking 12. But what was the crime? The first felony. Good old Richard. A serial killer. Mel's going with A as well. Auto theft at the age of 12. Rackart going with A. Googly eye. Or A, looking at him, eyes. Lemon Pie's 10-year-old mattress tag removal. Removing a mattress tag. It's actually not. A lot of people actually believe that, though, that it's a felony for you to remove the tag off a mattress. The tag is actually, it's a felony for a store to remove the tag. They don't go after individuals for removing the tags off of mattresses. He stole a car and then set it on fire, says Mel. But did he commit a murder in it too? Stole a car, committed murder, and then set it on fire? Could be arson, says Meep. All right, question number 16. The correct answer is B as in boy. Arson. In case you're not familiar with the makeup of a serial killer, a lot of serial killers have a component in their past of abusing animals. Arson is also one of them, and sexual crimes or sexual deviancy is in the background of just about every serial killer, has those somewhere in their past. Arson, sexual deviancy, pornography. Yeah, you can see the whole thing, if you look back at enough, and especially the younger the age that they start doing these things. But the very first felony that he actually did, he did not get caught with it. What was setting an actual fire? He burned down a garage. That was his very first felony. My Pillow guy, Mike Swindell or something like that, turned that into a felony, and he was for martial law. Okay. Question number 17. Excuse me. What motion did Richard's attorneys file with the court granting a complete halt to the case and trial? What motion? We're looking for, that's a motion in a criminal trial is basically you're filing something with the court, and it's either requesting information, getting or requesting that they give you it, or you're giving information, or it could be a procedural thing to halt a case itself. But what motion did they file? Was it A, dental surgery completion? B, claiming he wasn't Richard Ramirez? C, request a new office copier, or D, review of police brutality claim? What a nice fellow, right, Mel? What motion did Richard's attorneys file with the court granting a complete halt to the case and trial? What was the motion that they actually filed? Every mother's dream. Sal's going with A. E, brain surgery. Rykar's going with A. Rykard actually got a tooth on there. Huh, that's cool. Kitty Coo going with A. Gianna Marie, sorry, is going with A as well. Where is it? There it is. Gotta move to the next page of our notes. 1 second. Do, 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 do. Alrighty. Mr. Frosty's going with A. Purple's going with A as well. Question number 17 of 20. Zuna Island Girl is going with D, and so is Jude. Review of police brutality, they say. Question 17 of 20. The correct answer is A as in apple. He had started the dental surgery process before his actual arrest, and he was in the middle of actually completing the actual dental surgery to get his stupid teeth fixed, so he didn't look like a complete nut job, especially in the courtroom. And the attorneys asked that everything be halted until the completion, so he looked as natural as he could, so that people wouldn't judge him based on how he looked before he got his teeth fixed. They were granted a total of 3 days. 3 days for the completion to be done. So they stopped the actual trial in the case itself for 3 days. All right, question number 18. Richard's interest in satanic arts was always more of a shock and awe than anything else, as he never practiced it at all. What did he carve into the wall in the garage of Maria Hernandez? Was it A, pentagram, B, Hail Satan, C, just one word, Satan, which is in quotes there, just one word, or was it D, death becomes us all? Richard's interest in the satanic arts was always more for shock and awe than anything else, as he never practiced it at all. What did he carve into the wall in the garage of Maria Hernandez? Colin going with A. The Morgan going with A as well. Sal and Mel are going with A. I'm so off, says Mr. Frosty. Rykar's going with A. What did Richard Ramirez carve into the wall inside of the garage of Maria Hernandez? In case you're wondering why he would carve something like anything into the wall inside of the garage, that is where he hung out and waited for her to come home to make his attack. He waited inside of the garage. But what did he carve into the wall? The pentagram, Hail Satan, just one word, Satan, or death becomes us all? Kitty Q is going with A. Nixon was framed. Tricky Dicky was framed. That's a good one, Tammy. Kitty Q is going with A. The pentagram. Purple going with D. Death becomes us all. Richard's interest in the satanic arts. In case you're wondering, when he first picked up the satanic arts, according to a former friend of Richard's, he picked it up, when he'd be like in his late teens, early 20s, when he supposedly, got interested in it. I have 2 right so far, says me. Tina is going with A. Well, if nothing else, we're learning new things about Richard, Ramirez tonight, right? Mr. Frosty is going with A. Question number 18. The correct answer is A as in apple. A pentagram. One of only 3 times that Richard Ramirez ever painted or put a pentagram anywhere. The other times he painted it. And this is the only time he ever carved it with a pocket knife into the wall of the garage, a pentagram. Question number 19. After his arrest, Richard gave several random confessions filled with lies and bizarre rantings. Like I said, he was a bizarre-ass individual. But he eventually asked for a lawyer. When leaving the interrogation room, what was the last thing Richard said? Was it A, can I get a pizza? B, what time is dinner? C, aren't you going to ask me about and then nothing? Or D, I'm actually a really nice guy. After his arrest, Richard gave several random confessions filled with lies and bizarre rantings. He eventually asked for a lawyer. When leaving the interrogation room, what was the last thing Richard said? The Morgan is going to A. Kitiko is going with D. Question mark, question mark. Random rant. His rants. What a gnarly dude. Richard Ramirez. Carly is going with A. Sal. D. Mel Stiller. A. Question mark. Can I get a pizza? I'd like a pepperoni pizza, please. Or maybe Richard being all weird, he'd probably want like Canadian bacon, pineapple, and sardines. Cher is going with B. Meep is going with D. Reichardt, B. Question number 19 of 20. After his arrest, Richard gave several random confessions filled with lies and bizarre rantings. That is putting it lightly. According to one of the officers who was in the interrogation room with him, he went on tirades, rants for most of the time that he was there about random shit. The people who caught him, the lady in the store. He went on about the weather. He went on about taxes. He went on about all kinds of random shit that had nothing to do with what the hell he was being charged with and why he was there. Anton Lavelle for president. All right, question number 19. Well, they gave him 3 more days to complete it, Sherry. It wasn't 3 days for the entire thing. He started the dental procedure well before he was ever even caught, before they even knew who he was. And that was one of the reasons why he came back, because he had a dental appointment. But anyways, if you live in the state of California, you paid for his teeth, and then afterwards he was he was supposed to be executed, but we all know how he died. All right, question number 19. The correct answer is B as in boy. After going on a rant for several hours and lying, to officers, giving partial confessions, he finally said, "I need a lawyer." And they said, "Okay, well, all questioning is done as soon as you say you want a lawyer." And then he asked them as he was getting ready, to be escorted back to the jail. He said, "What time is dinner?" The last thing he said in the interrogation room, "What time is dinner?" All right, question number 20. In 1999, a poll of writers with the Associated Press, that's AP, Associated Press, and newspapers across the country were asked on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst, where would you rate the brutality of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker? Would they say A, 7, B, 2, C, 6, D, 8? But did he also want pizza? I don't know. He just asked for dinner. All they do in prison is pull teeth out. In 1999, poll of writers with the Associated Press and newspapers across the country were asked on a scale of 1 to 10, just how 10 being worse, what were you rate the brutality of Richard Ramirez? Question number 20. $19.99. Morgan going with D. Question mark. Carly going with D as well. Mel going with D. I said A for that. Jana Marie is going with D as well. Scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the worst. Where would you rate the brutality of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker? Rockar's going with D. Sherry's going with D. In 1999. We're going to party like it's 1999. I know. Katina D. Sherry D. Question number 20 of 20. A pentagram says, Zuna Island girl. Zuna Island girl. Question 20 of 20. Meepa is going with D as in dog. The correct answer to question 20 of 20 is, in fact, D as in dog. They rated his brutality on a scale of 8 out of 10, with 10 being the worst. Now, this is 1999. They hadn't caught everyone, that you may now know of at this point, who maybe their scores would be lower, or maybe it would still stay an 8. How did you do tonight? Did you get an A, a B, a C, or a D? Or are you a solid E, a rock star mountain lion tamer? Again, you don't have to do this part. We are only doing it for, you're giving yourself a letter grade if you want to. I have to. Don't leave yet, though, because we still have the cold case files that are coming up next. And I clicked on the wrong thing here. Where is it? Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't remember how to do this now. Like I said, they moved everything around on me here. And I'm trying to find. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I want the chat back. There it is. D. Mel, I'm a solid B. There you go, Mel. All right. I can't figure out where the damn thing is. I mean, I knew it when I started tonight. F, a freaking Barry Barry Mountain Lion Morphew, said Reichart. And that's not what I want. I want the chat. Meet got a D. All right. Let's go on to the cold case files. Our first one is Russell John Osmond. God damn it. Olstead has been missing since 8/15 of 1998 from Ellsford, Washington. He was 24 years old when he vanished. Today, he would be about 50 years of age. If you know anything, you contact the Okanagan Sheriff's Department. He was last seen by his mother, who gave him a ride to a fruit orchard where he was going to be working and staying at the same time. This wasn't a new job for Russell. It's something he did in the when school was out of session to earn money to pay for his education. And this is the only known photo of him that I could find online that I can confirm is actually him. And I know it's a terrible one. But again, he vanished on 8/15 in 1998. He showed up there. He checked in with the people who run the actual fruit picking, and then no one knows what happened to him after that. Very limited information is known about him, but he's never been arrested. He's never been booked into a hospital underneath his name. His social security number, nothing has ever been used. His bank account was untouched. Something happened to him. Somebody knows what happened to Russell. But again, if you see the number on the screen, if you know anything at all or may have known anything that may be connected to the disappearance of Russell. Next is Carly B. Sally, also missing from the around the port, west coast of the United States. I'm sorry, stumble for words there. She has been missing since 8/14 of 2021. Last seen in Port Angeles, Washington. When she vanished, she was 38 years old. She'll be approximately 42 years of age today. And the Column Sheriff Department is actually overseeing this investigation. The last time she was seen was on a Sound Transit light rail system going to visit a friend in Olympia, Washington, and she never made it. CCTV there actually showed her getting off of the actual light rail Sound Transit bus. That's not rail, sorry, but bus, getting off of it, walking away from the actual building and the platform where where all the buses and everything meet there, and nobody was following her at all. So what happened to her, nobody knows, but she vanished 8/14 of 2021. People killed him, maybe. Yeah, well, we don't know. People do disappear, all the time underneath different circumstances. But if you know anything about Carla, and you can help at all, the photo that is to the right is the better photo of the two. And I know the other one is out of focus. It's even out of focus on my end. Next is an unidentified man who was found floating in the Columbia River in Washington State. He was in either his late 30s or late 40s. It's hard to tell because the individual was in the water for some period of time when he was actually found. The Franklin County Sheriff's Department is actually overseeing this investigation. But again, he was 5'7", 150 to 165 pounds at the time. Identifying marks that may help you if you know anything about this individual or may have known him. He had reddish hair, graying beard, and had spinal surgery at some point to the C5 and C7 vertebrae in his neck area. But this is an artist rendering, obviously, of the individual. But he was found in the Columbia River. At that point, when they did find him, They believe that he was in the water for at least a week at that point, but they cannot say that for sure. There was no obvious signs of trauma that can be attributed to the cause of death. The case number is 23-049697. If you can help on this case at all, they are not even sure about his ethnicity. Some people had guessed that he was Hispanic or he may have been Peruvian, but I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a lot of Peruvians with reddish hair in my lifetime. So that's just me. I'm sure there probably some out there, probably people who are albino Peruvian or Mexican, but I've never seen them myself. And I'm not saying it to be racist or anything. I'm just making an observation from my life. But anyways, when was he found? In I do believe Sherry 2022 or 2023, a little over a year ago. But again, this man has a family out there, and people are missing him, and there was no identification on him. There's been a lot of rumors on the internet that he may have been, a homeless man. Other people say that they've seen him, panhandling, and then there are other people who said no. He may have been someone who was more like a traveling salesman. The clothing that he was wearing at the time consisted of clothing that not high end merchandise, like designer jeans and shirts and stuff like that. He was not wearing any shoes, but he did have one sock on his left foot. But the chances are that because of how long the body was in the water, the shoes could have fallen off while he was in the water at some point. Just because they're, that you find a victim floating in water and they don't have shoes on doesn't mean that they were not wearing shoes at the time that they entered the water. But anyways, next. You have a good night, Sal. Thank you. In the United States of America, over 100,000 people vanish every year in cold cases where homicide is part of the case itself. They believe that the person vanished because they were either murdered or something happened to them. Somebody made them disappear. Every year, 400 to 500 more cases end up in the cold case files in the law enforcement agencies across the nation. That is across the nation, not just one state, but only 1% of all cold cases that have been there 30 years, 50 years, or a year and a half, 2 years, and the case has gone cold. Only 1% of those cold cases are ever solved. Now, don't ever assume that these people who, I've shown in the cold case files, disappeared on their own accord. Some people may have been murdered, and dumped or, buried in the mountains. I don't know, thrown into a dumpster. You don't know what happened to them. I don't know what happened to them, but somebody knows something that can help solve the case. What can you do to help solve a cold case? Look at the cold cases I have presented. To forward the information to someone in the area where the person went missing from. Talk about the case. Never assume that these people just walked away from their lives willingly. Help support the Charlie Foundation if you can. Every dollar helps, and I truly do mean that, because they only survive on the donations that they get. They have no corporate sponsorship or federal grants that keep a database like the Charlie Project alive. I am not affiliated at all, and I do take that as the comments that I got last week and the week before about me being affiliated and being a shill for the Charlie Project. I take offense to that. I'm just trying to help, bring awareness, at the end of, something that I do every single week that can bring, more eyes to a case. Again, search the website for the Charlie Project, for cases in your area. You can search by location, city, and state. There's no reason that cold cases can't be solved. People like to talk. Even serial killers talk to other killers or other people. They collect mementos from each person, a gift or whatever. Maybe it's a ring or jewelry of some other sort, or a photograph, a lock of hair. It's something. Well, why does that person have a whole box full of lock of hair? Think about it. People don't have those things. Someone knows what happened to these people. That no one just up and vanishes without a trace. Someone new moves into your town. If they willingly walked away from their lives, they move into your town, but they have no identification. Well, why don't you have any identification? Well, somebody knows how they got there. Somebody knows something about everyone. I am trying, right there it is. I'm sitting here clicking on each and every one of the tiles that are on the screen here on my dashboard to try to figure out how to get back to where I'm at. Damn show offs. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight's trivia on Richard Ramirez. But again, every one of those people that I show in the cold case file, there's someone's sister, there's someone's friend, someone's daughter, or someone's, brother or boyfriend or whatever. There's somebody out there who cared about each and every one of them. Even the man who was floating in the river, he has a family somewhere. Someone who doesn't know what the hell happened to their loved one. Well, thank you, Lemon Pie. I hope you had fun. Some have been found by a piece of jewelry some saw recently. Won't you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbor. Little Mr. Rogers in the neighborhood. You never know. It could be something as simple as that. Somebody sells something on online, and then the next thing you know, it's halfway across the nation, and it didn't go to a pawn shop where they have to leave a record of it. They sold it through Craigslist where nobody asked for identification. But and then there are people who disappear with their cars. Look at Chaos Divers. On YouTube. That's the name of the channel, Chaos Divers, or Josh Cantu. Him and Doug Bishop just they're down in Florida tagging cars right now that have been underwater. Like 30 of them in like one body of water in one area. People vanish all the time when their cars are never found. Why they don't find the cars? Maybe they didn't disappear near a body of water, but why don't they ever find the cars? They get crushed in in an auto salvage yard, and they for scrap metal. But they're supposed to keep records of every car that they crush. And I don't know why. And that's the next thing I'm going to work on. Besides getting all this dialed in with the camera, I noticed that the thing is overblown. It's oversaturated. Someone would know about the one guy spinal surgery. You would think, and that's the one thing I was looking into. Is the surgical implants for the devices that he had. I guess you call it spinal fusion surgery. They don't have serial numbers on them. At least they didn't. They do now. They put an actual an ID number on each and every one of the medical devices. But it could have been before then, or maybe it happened outside of the country where it's not required. The dental implants are the same way. There's an actual even dental implants now have a serial number that's registered to that individual. Oh my God, I've had it on the top message and not all messages. Oh, I'm sorry, Kitty Q. Well, we haven't been ignoring you. But again, Anyone that can help, look it up. Go to the Charlie Project and just look up cases in your area. You might be surprised when you go to the Charlie Project and you scroll down past the highlighted case, halfway down the page, you'll see where you can search by alphabetical order or you can search by location. You might be surprised how many cold cases are in your actual geographic location. I know I was. For the town that I live in right now, where I am sitting today, there are, I think it's 41 cases total that are cold cases that are listed on there. And I didn't know anything about these. Here's your serial number for a serial killer. Yeah, even in graves, at the when they if a serial killer is put to death or a death row inmate is put to death and nobody comes and collects their bodies, that a lot of them just go into the cemetery at the prison or a pauper's grave at the cemetery, and they not a lot of them even get headstones. They get a number, depending upon the location where the and what their actual procedure is. I think Lamont has covered a couple of those cemeteries in the past, and Millennial Tombstone, I think is the name of the channel. He's from like Minnesota, or Wisconsin, or something like that, from the Midwest. I think it's Minnesota. Millennial Tombstone. I I'm probably messing up the name of his channel. I should probably watch it more. But I definitely gotta get all this dialed in and figured out how and why it's displayed the way it is and where everything is, because it just happened to me today that they changed. It used to be all in one line at the top, and then at the bottom underneath, where I'm seeing myself right here on screen, it used to have little tiles there, but now the tiles are up towards the. I'm pointing to the right, not to the left, but Lamont is in Southern California right now, is he? Hmm. I haven't watched much YouTube lately. I need to get on that. The body wasn't cremated, so he was cremated, so wasn't claimed. Oh, sorry, his body wasn't claimed. So, oh my God, new device couldn't get configured. Hello to all. Hello, Susan. Welcome to tonight's True Crime Trivia. We have finished with trivia. We're chatting along here right now. But I hope you had a terrific weekend. Yeah, I'm still trying to. I was talking about. I'm trying to figure out where everything is. It used to be underneath the screen, so now the screen is actually larger of what I'm seeing on my end. But all the tiles have moved from here to up over here, and then now they're different icons. Like one is like 4 different things, another one is 2. They've combined things together. I'll figure it out. I just have to play around with it to figure out where it's all at. And they finally fixed one thing that I needed, which was save my streams to the cloud. You had to do so much to even get to saving it to the cloud before, but now it's right there, the tab right at the top, which is very handy for me, because I back everything up to the cloud and then download it to an external hard drive. They're just messing with you, Will. Yeah. Nothing stays the same. It's just like I start getting used to something and how it's laid out, because it was in beta for forever, but now it's not in beta anymore. And now that that it's out of beta, obviously these are the changes that they've made. I live close to a cemetery where the first guy was sent to the electric chair in Texas. I couldn't find his marker. That happens a lot, Meep. Maybe his marker got overgrown by grass, Um, maybe it was wooden at one point. There's a lot of reasons why, if you go to like the office for the cemetery or look up the website for the actual cemetery itself, they may have like a find a grave and they'll tell you, site map wise, so you can print off where the grave is. Some YouTubers are saying that Lamont is exploiting homeless people when he interviews them. I enjoy those interviews. I enjoy him too. I don't know why that anybody would say he's exploiting them. From what I understand, Lamont pays these people. He gives them money for doing an interview with them, talking about their lives. He doesn't give them much. I mean, maybe it's only like $40 or something, but it's still something. Even a dollar is helping them out. Than a dollar they don't have. But I don't see any of it as exploitive, Reichart. Excuse me. But I enjoy most of them too. I think the last one I watched was one he did a while ago about a guy who was homeless and was looking for work. That's creepy, but I think it's cool. Yep, I'm that person. Sprinkled donuts. Damn, I'm late. I was excited for tonight. Oh, is that a deep underbelly guy? Underbelly. I don't get the reference there. I'm sorry, Kitty Q. Lamont. Lamont at large. Lamont on the run. Is that who you're talking to about underbelly? Oh, on underbelly. Hmm. I've seen Slab City tour. Interesting. That's someplace I would never go. Slab City. Interesting. Yeah, I've seen some. Oh, okay. No, different person. Sorry. All right. Slab City is the lawlessness. I mean, I guess they have some rules for people who live there, but not me. I wouldn't go there. I mean, I find it interesting. I've seen some documentaries about it, but I don't think I'd ever go there. Not my cup of tea, I guess, as they say. My one Pepsi a week. I don't drink a lot of soda. It's not good for you. I have one soda a week. I love the interview he had with the homeless, beautiful woman. I hope the best for her. I don't know if I've seen that one, right, Cart? I mean, so if they think that Lamont is exploiting the homeless, what is German in Venice? Uh, German in not German in Venice, Venice Beach, California is what I mean. Venice Beach, California. German in Venice. What is he doing? I mean, his entire channel is about interviewing and showing what the hell's going on Venice Beach and people, and the different characters who live there. I mean, that would be a hell of a lot more exploitive, and that's his entire channel. Well, besides like going back to Germany to visit his mom and some other things. Cold pop is good sometimes. It is. Well, I always have one a week. Otherwise, I drink a lot of water. Good for you. Oh my God, I drank a Pepsi today too. First soda I've had in 6 or 8 months. I'll probably be up past midnight. You don't drink sodas? Soda pops? It's interesting, with the one part of the United States, it's pop. Other parts, it's soda. It all depends where people live, what they call it. Pop. Or then there are parts of the United States where everything is a cola. Even if it's orange or a root beer, it's a cola. In other parts, it's pop. In other places, it's soda. I always find that interesting, the regional, what people call certain things. They're all talking about the same thing. It's just what they refer to it as. I would have said Coke, but it was actually a Pepsi. Yep, this one was a wild cherry. I gave up soda, but then I discovered sparkling water, probably almost as bad. It depends. I can't speak for all sparkling waters. My wife drinks that. It's a sparkling water. It's like I to me the flavor is like it's so little. It's like a truck of fruit drove past the plant is how I say it. Describe it. I'm in California, but I've always said pop. I try to. I don't go out of my way and have one soda a week. I try to change it up. I drink a lot of water, and I put those flavor packets in them. But other than that, I drink an excessive amount of coffee. Way too much. It's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia for this week. Thank you, everyone, for being here. On the way out the door, if you would hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed tonight's content. If not, give it a thumbs down. It's an interaction to YouTube, and it shows that somebody actually took the time to actually click on it. But I hope that everyone out there has a terrific week ahead, and I will see you all again soon. I need to pick me up at work halfway through the day, so I drink a half of a Mountain Dew. I've never liked Mountain Dew. Maybe it's that star fruit, flavor to it. But thank you, everyone. Have a great night and a terrific week ahead. Bye. Now, I have to figure out how to actually end this. Where did they move the stream button to? It's there somewhere. And that's not it. And that's not it. Okay. Great. Look at that. They added more themes and primary color options. Huh. But that's not what I'm looking for. There it is. Bye, everyone.